Hey everyone, it's Veiled Shot back at it with another Awaken Chaos Era video, and as you saw from my previous video on the account update, we managed to pull some pretty crazy things. So in this video, we're going to be building out some of those characters, testing them out in some game modes. I'm not going to do a super in-depth test. I will probably spread this out over a couple of videos because we have a lot of things to go over, but definitely the first thing I want to try out is my Queen 12 team. I've been running the same team as I have been previously, which is Radira, Hakrin, Santis, and Mythasia, but it is incredibly slow. So I want to see if I can swap in Desmond in either Radira or Mythasia's place, probably Radira's place, and then probably going to have to 6-star Hakrin to get a little extra tankiness and get that defense going. And then maybe I might build out Blackhorn and replace Mythasia, but I think Mythasia's a little better for this. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but we'll have to find out. I will be testing all these things. But the first thing I wanted to do is definitely level up Blackhorn and Desmond. As you saw from my previous video on Arena, I ended up building out Windstreak, so I do have her perhaps in Void Tower or something like that. But right now, I really want to build out Desmond and Blackhorn. I'm super excited, especially for Desmond particularly. I mean, Blackhorn's really good and perhaps one of the best legendaries in the game right now for how versatile and how good he is in what role he fits in. But I don't know, there's nothing like Desmond for me because he's just such a unique character, and the perceived notion is that he's pretty bad, and my initial impression is that he's bad. However, I do think that he's selectively good, perhaps in Void Tower and perhaps in Queen. We will find out here in a little bit. So the first thing is, of course, we have to get the glyphs leveled up. I've been farming glyphs forever. So we're just gonna go ahead and apply all these. Now, I did want to mention a couple things about Desmond, because I've been seeing a couple of screenshots out there. I know a couple people sent me some things, and I have been really curious about whether or not, like, how his plague actually works, because some people are saying that it's based off of Desmond's current HP. Some people say that, or some people are building with crit rate, and all these different builds that are trying to, like, basically manipulate the plague and make it better. But I'm not quite sure on whether or not those actually affect anything overall. So we'll have to find out ourselves. And we're just going to stop there with the 2 glyphs there. And we're also just going to go ahead and quickly apply the glyphs to Blackhorn. So I think the best build for both of these characters is probably a Revival Set, especially if I'm using it in Void Tower. It'll just make it so much better. But I think we're just going to go with Revival Set on both of them. If we can. I don't have like amazing gear, so we might just go for stats, but mainly HP on Desmond. I'm going to try the crit rate build for sure to see if that affects the plague. I do not have the abilities ready to go. It doesn't really matter too much. The basic with the healing effect is pretty decent, but the ultimate, you're going to enter the plague emissary and you're going to stay that way. So if you use it on a boss fight, it's going to kind of stay there until it's canceled. So the cooldown doesn't matter super a lot, but we'll have to see. And I will be maxing out the abilities soon. Blackhorn, of course, obviously kind of necessary to upgrade his abilities. You're getting 2 cooldown reductions here and a bunch of healing on his special as well. So we're going to go ahead and try to farm out some ability crystals. The water dungeon is today. I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow for the wood one. We're going to go ahead after that, 6-star both of them, and then I will be back, and we're going to go ahead and maybe build them, and then I'll show off the builds that I came up with, perhaps adjust them slightly, and I will be back when that happens. So here we are, and we have 6-star Desmond, and I will be adjusting his build a little bit. I was doing some testing on stream the other night, and we had some really awesome experiences, but I wanted to show him off in a different build in Queen for you all here. But instead of actually 6-starring Blackhorn, I happened to pull a Hakrin just the other day from the limited summons, and so I'm just going to go ahead and fuse another Hakrin because I think his trait is amazing. It's essentially doubling it from like about 12% defense shared throughout the whole team to 24%, which is really nice upgrade, and it should keep Desmond, Mythasia, and Santis alive throughout this whole thing. So we're just going to go ahead and try that, and then I will come back when I have changed up Desmond's build and ascended Hakrin. So I just wanted to quickly go ahead and show you the new Desmond build. So the reason why I think this will work, and I'm just going to go ahead and quickly show you. First off, we have +9, +6 gear. It's not great, so it's a real brief test for myself on my Queen 12 team. But this is a crit rate, high crit rate, not super high crit damage, but high crit rate, and then high HP build. And the reason for that is, if on a second skill, we see here, it applies Plague to all enemies, then deals 60% damage to each, which will actually be 100%. And the damage scales with the number of stacks of Plague on each target. So you don't really need attack because it's scaling with Plague. Now, attack might actually help him increase his damage. I'm not quite sure too much because I haven't tested him too much, so I don't know how much that attack will really matter in the grand scheme of things. His attack's already low, so you know that kind of discourages already. But with crit rate, that's also going to scale with the scaling of the Plague, and so we're going to see if he's actually going to do a ton of damage with this second special or this first special. And of course, this basic is just going to do, you know, a minor amount of damage. But we really want to see the scaling for this and whether or not it's actually worth building crit rate on him. And I think that's really the reason why some people are building crit. I'm going to test it for myself. We managed to get him in a revival set with crit rate because I have some bruiser pieces here with crit rate, crit damage, and then speed, and then crit rate, and then just a crit rate ring, and then again crit rate, defense. We really want HP crit rate is the kind of the idea here, because we obviously want to heal more with the revival set, and then we also want him to, you know, be able to heal more on his basic. And I think I'm going to be able to get his abilities maxed out. I already have a couple more farmed up, so we're just going to go ahead and drop those in here. And it is, you know, Bane Wraith Day, so I'm going to go ahead and try to max out his abilities before we go ahead and test him completely, because I think we really aren't going to get a full test out of the crit rate build, at least, without actually maxing out his skills, because we are looking for extra damage with crit rate, so that is pretty important. So I'm going to go ahead and farm up some more skills, and then come back and then try to fuse another Hackran, and then run a Queen 12 comp, and let's see how much Desmond really affects the Queen 12. So I just wanted to show you this. Between Aurak and Jacob, my Bane Wraith clear time is much quicker because Aurak's doing double hits with his passive, and then of course Jacob, as you're going to see here, is just popping off with a bunch of turns, removing that shield real quickly. So if you haven't seen my previous in-depth guide video on Jacob, I didn't include any Bane Wraith footage, but it's definitely way better with Jacob in there. Increases my speed so much, which is real nice because I am going to be farming this for a long time.
24 hours later.
All right, we finished up the Desmond build, as you saw, and I'm just here finishing off the fusion material for Hackran. I don't know if I'm going to 6-star him quite yet. I'm going to hope that I can beat it without the 6-star. I think he's absolutely worth the 6-star, but I just don't have the time right now. And also, there's so many, you know, foodies and such that I need to get actually access to before I can start 6-starring. And I think I'll need to farm even a little bit more. But that's the fusion for Hackran. That will get us his trait. And actually, I do have a couple of foodies that I can start working on. And I'll show you that right after I send Hackran here. This is pretty exciting because we are going to get his trait here. So let's go ahead and ascend him here. Boom. Another Hackran. Get that extra 12% defense trait there, which is really nice. And I think the survivability will last. He has 2100 defense, so an extra 12% is, you know, roughly like 220, so that's really nice. As I said, I do have a bunch of foodies that I could start upgrading from the Void Tower, so I am at 54 hard. I've been doing it on stream since that previous video, so essentially I have another 5 foodies here, so I could 6-star another person, and it wouldn't be too bad. On top of that, I've been getting a ton of diamonds from all over the place. Arena just reset, and I ended up Platinum 4, I believe, which gave me 300 diamonds there. And now we have Hackran, and I also am leveling up Desmond's abilities. He's at 4, doesn't have one more, but it's really slow. And so I'm just going to go ahead and run a Queen run just because I'm super excited. I don't want to wait. So we're just going to go ahead and try this real quick. This is the team I was running before, and it was really slow. So we're just going to go ahead and drop Desmond in. And we're going to keep Santis in. Now that we have Hackran, and Mephasia is going to be our healer. You know, maybe Blackhorn might be a little better for the heals, but we'll have to see here. Let's go ahead and run this. Let's go ahead and see how Desmond is doing. Remember, he's in the crit rate, crit damage build. He doesn't have a ton of crit damage, so I would have liked to get that much higher. But the whole goal here is he goes first in front of at least the enemies. You want him to kind of go first in front of the enemies, from what I've experienced, because if he doesn't go first before the enemies, you basically miss a whole round of plague that you could be applying, which is kind of a big deal. So you can see here, because he's actually in the plague emissary stance, all of them are getting the plague on their turn, and they're taking a decent amount of damage here. It would be nice to get Hackran's speed up quite a bit so that he's going first, so you can apply that. Look at that, 1300 damage. On an AoE. It's not high at all right now, but that was only with one stack of Plague. So we'll have to see once he starts getting more stacks of Plague whether or not that actually does a good amount of damage. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and skip through till the boss stage, because I don't think anyone wants to watch 3 minutes of the same Queen run over and over and over again, because a lot of you have finished Queen. I will be doing an in-depth guide, which I will show Desmond's full Queen run. But for this, I'm just going to kind of test out just to show you whether or not it actually improves my Queen run, or it's just, it's equally as bad as before. So I'm recording here, and I just wanted to show you, look at that, 4K on Desmond's AoE. I really quickly just popped that in because I noticed he was at 50 stacks of Plague, and he was going to hit. So 4K is actually not a bad hit. It's not obviously like damage dealer status, but it certainly can be as a fluff / supplementary damage dealer. So it actually might be good enough just to run Desmond in Queen in order to kill the boss. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to test that more. I think it's more safe with Santis to finish off that last bit, because if you didn't know, Plague does current HP damage, so it just gets worse over time. So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead until the boss fight. So we just got to the boss stage, and I think this is where we're going to see a massive time improvement for my own team. For those of you that are using maybe Valuk plus Santis, it might be similar time, but for those of you who are using Zalex, it'll be much slower. But for my team, I don't really have Valuk built right now. I plan on building him, but I just wanted to build Desmond because I think he's a little bit better in some other game modes. So, and I'm also really excited. He's a legendary. I want to build my legendaries. But this is where we should see most of our damage, or rather time speed up from Desmond. And the reason for that is he's going to be stacking that Plague in this, boss stage is quite a large fight. You can see there, he already just did 10% from the Plague, which is kind of nuts, which is really, really solid damage. But that Plague is doing current HP damage, and the Queen has a shield, so you're going to get through that shield. Obviously, she's getting healed quite a bit as well from the side crab. So the Plague is constantly going to be removing the other. Look at that, 51k off 23 stacks of Plague. That's crazy. It's as if there's about 9 stacks of poison for if Santis had put 9 stacks of poison, which is really, really nuts, actually. Hopefully he's going to hit a little hard as well here with the second skill on the boss. But obviously I'm going to be doing an in-depth guide. Look at that, 46k damage. Like, for those of you that, like me, were doubting in Desmond, after seeing the Queen run a couple times with a previous build on stream, and then with this new crit build, I'm really, really impressed with Desmond. And like I said, I plan on doing a full in-depth guide, diving into all things Desmond and explaining how he's actually doing quite a bit of damage. But this is a really, really good, first / second impression for Desmond. I haven't even run him in Void Tower, which, supposedly that's where his best spot is, according to a lot of people who are using him. But this is already amazing. Look, another 41k damage from Desmond there. It is a little difficult to keep him alive because he's killing himself. But, this is awesome. He's even killing off the side ads just on accident. Look at that, another 48k damage from Desmond. Now, obviously his damage numbers are going to be inflated a little bit after we check him out at the end here, but because, the crabs are healing, he's hitting all the ads, and this may not be necessary damage in the grand scheme of things, but still, the amount of damage he's putting out is pretty amazing, honestly. Look at that, 31k damage. The Plagues did drop off because he wasn't in Plague Emissary stance, which is fine. We're at 22% here, and this is already much, much faster than my previous runs. Even by like 2 minutes, that's quite a bit. If you're running, let's say, 50 queens a day, 2 minutes, that saves me 100 minutes. That's quite a bit. You can see there his second skill did 900 damage just because there was no plague on it, so there was no scaling effect there. But this is awesome, and I think it's pretty consistent. I did run a couple runs with the previous build, and, you know, we died, Santis and Desmond, but we actually were able to revive with Mathasia and everything, so I'm pretty confident in this team. So that was a really awesome first impression from Desmond. I'm really excited, to be honest. So we just reached the end of the battle, and before we check out the damage chart, I just wanted to mention, like, he has no attack on him, really, except for the weapon. He has no attack percentage, so I wonder if that will increase his damage a ton. You know, I will be doing some more testing, and if you do want to see all of these things that I'm talking about with Desmond, let me know in the comments. I plan on doing it, but if you want to see all the variations, it will be a longer video, but I'm happy to do it if everyone wants to see all the variations of Desmond. Then I will be building him that way and show him off in the videos in the future video. Probably tomorrow, I will be getting that video out for you all. So we're just gonna go ahead and check the damage report. Look at that damage, 450,000 damage. Now, obviously, he's not, you know, doing a ton on the side adds. Like, the side adds don't matter as much and such, but still 450k is insane. That's really impressive. I'm really impressed by that. You know, he's already healing himself quite a bit, and he took a ton of damage, obviously, from that. And 26 rounds is way better than my previous runs, which were like nearing like late 30s, early 40s battle rounds. So this is a real massive improvement to my personal queen team, and I will be running this in the future. So I will definitely be running that team in the future queen runs. That's going to improve my time a ton. I still have, you know, a couple skill upgrades to do for Desmond. Again, this healing effect is actually quite a bit. I believe this up to 10% of health loss, which actually can be quite a bit of health, seeing as he has, you know, 16k HP here. And with Hackman as well. And on top of that, we're missing 10% damage here, which could be a nice bonus. And there's some glyphs I could put on him, like the defense one up here, and then maybe some other glyphs like the attack if I find out that he's doing quite a bit of damage. Also, this crit rate one might be useful to put on Desmond. But I have so many characters to build. Again, I plan on 6-starring Hackman because I believe, you know, by getting Hackman to 6 stars, you can really show off Desmond's true potential, because I think Hackman plus Desmond is a natural combination, because you do want Desmond to survive with high HP. Also, you want to keep him alive. It's hard to keep him alive between him being squishy if you're building him for damage and him killing himself. So healers are kind of a must with Desmond. So I feel like Hackman is a natural combination with him. So I want to 6-star him. And obviously, I do have a Blackhorn, right? I started this video off with saying I was going to build out a Blackhorn, and I haven't even touched Blackhorn yet. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be, you know, releasing that Desmond guide tomorrow. Currently, that's my plan. And then after that, I will be working on Blackhorn and 6-starring Hackman. And so if you do want to see, you know, that Desmond guide, let me know in the comments. And also, I will be working on Blackhorn and 6-starring Hackman, both of them, over the next couple days. And I will be releasing a video on that after the Desmond guide, hopefully. And so that'll be it for this video, though. If you are enjoying the content, be sure to drop this video a like and subscribe. And I will see you for the next one.